Breaking news mga kabayan, Chinese representative ng China na si Dr. Yu Bo, isang Chinese academic at director ng South China Sea Strategic Situation Proving Initiative na palaging taliwas ang ibinabalita at palaging kinokontra ang mga pahayag ng Pilipinas, binira ng mga banyag at Pilipinong eksperto sa patuloy na Manila Dialogue on the South China Sea 2025. Lalong-lalo na nang nahuli ng mga Marines ang mga Chinese na gagamit sana ng cyanide para sa illegal fishing sa Ayungin Shoal. Ayon sa South China Sea Strategic Situation Proving Initiative, hindi daw totoo na cyanide ang nakumpiska ng mga Marines sa mga Chinese. Ito daw ay kapares na mga dishwashing liquid lamang mula sa China. Dito binira ng isang foreign expert si Chinese Dr. Yu Bo.
And that during the incident, it had confiscated plastic bottles containing suspected cyanide chemicals that were used for illegal fishing. And they published a picture of the bottles. But your organization, the SCS Probing Initiative, retweeted that article and said, the suspected cyanide bottle is a dishwashing liquid well known in China. Now, you hadn't checked that story, so are you an agent of disinformation?
I think for the Chinese perspective, it is law enforcement activities. So it is China's claims waters, so China has a right to patrol and do the law enforcement activities. And also, but today, I don't want to debate with Jane and not. I just share the information. As far as I know, China's Coast Guard doesn't have so-called laser weapons. So that's totally fake news. So-called laser weapons of the PC of China Coast Guard.
Hi there. My question is for Hubo. About 10 days ago, 27th of October, the Philippine network GMA published a report that the Philippines Navy had chased away some Chinese fishing boats near Ayungin Shoal, Second Thomas Shoal, and that during the incident, it had confiscated plastic bottles containing suspected cyanide chemicals that were used for illegal fishing. And they published a picture of the bottles. Now, this is a common method for illegal fishing. According to the World Wildlife Fund, you take a couple of sodium cyanide tablets, you put them in a washing up bottle, and then you squirt them in the face of the fish. But your organization, the SCS Probing Initiative, retweeted that article and said, the suspected cyanide bottle is a dishwashing liquid well known in China. Now, you hadn't checked that story, so are you an agent of disinformation?
I have a question for Dr. Hubo. You mentioned in your presentation that the Philippines should stop giving Beijing chances. And based on your job and your work at the South China Sea Probing Institute at the Peking University, the role of your organization is to promote peace and stability and practical cooperation through studies that you conduct in the South China Sea. And one of the findings of your organization is that the Philippines should stop provoking China because these provocations are leading to tensions. So, given the findings of your organization, my question is, the intention of the Philippines in Scarborough Shoal has always been to support our fishermen. And are you saying, therefore, that we should start supporting our fishermen who go to Scarborough Shoal so that there will be no incidents that will lead to tensions in the West Philippine Sea? That's my first question. My second question is that you mentioned about third-party validation of actions in the West Philippine Sea. And in your presentation, you said even governments can make mistakes. So the premise is the Philippine government makes mistakes, the Chinese government makes mistakes, and when we release information to the public, it cannot be trusted because it is in accordance with the national interest. Therefore, would it be possible, would China agree to third-party validation? Meaning, would you, because we in the Philippines already allow third-party media to board our ships in conducting missions in the West Philippine Sea. Would you think the Chinese government would allow third-party media also to board your ships? If you don't like CNN or BBC or Western media, perhaps Singapore media like CNA or Malaysian media, would China be willing to do that? We will allow them in our ships, you will allow them in your ships, and then let them make the discovery to the world in accordance with transparency. Thank you.
Our topic for today is disinformation. As you know, I have been mentioning this a lot of times. The greatest challenge of the Philippine government in our fight for our sovereignty and sovereign rights in the West Philippine Sea is not the big Coast Guard vessels from the People's Republic of China or the Chinese Coast Guard, but because of disinformation and fake news and malign influence. This is actually a video showing China Coast Guard using military-grade laser against a 44-meter Philippine Coast Guard vessel patrolling in Ayungin Shoal way back in February of 2023. This is actually the first story that what we publicized to expose the Chinese aggressive action. The military-grade laser actually resulted to temporary blindness of our Coast Guard sailor for 10 to 15 seconds. A day after we released this, the Chinese embassy here in Manila had a press conference, and then they said, this video is actually not accurate because that laser that they're using is just an ordinary laser pointer. This is the second video that I'm presenting, is actually the Chinese maritime militia, more than 220 of them, that are just doing nothing within our own exclusive economic zone. The justification of the Chinese government is that they are just there to be safe for bad weather condition. But as you are aware, you can see from the video, it is a very fine weather, and the Chinese are occupying our exclusive economic zone. This is another video from Second Thomas Shoal last year, when the Chinese Coast Guard decided to become pirates, bringing knives, pikes, axes, attacking our Philippine Navy as they carried out a legitimate and routine resupply mission on board BRP Sierra Madre. There's another video showing how reckless and unprofessional the Chinese Coast Guard are when they rammed intentionally and collided with a Philippine Coast Guard vessel while it was anchored in Escoda Shoal. These are the aerial video that I got personally from my iPhone when we flew at Mischief Reef and Subi Reef. You have heard a lot of times that the Chinese are not militarizing these reclaimed islands, but as you can see from the structures that they have constructed, obviously, these are military-grade infrastructure to accommodate military assets, from jet fighters to PLA Navy warships. All of this are there and falls within our own exclusive economic zone as well. And for the other fake news that the Chinese are doing, they always say that they are just passing through, exercising freedom of navigation within our own exclusive economic zone. But as a matter of fact, all of these Chinese research vessels are conducting unauthorized and illegal marine scientific research within our own exclusive economic zone. This is another interesting video showing how professional, as they claim, the Chinese PLA Navy pilot getting closer to the
Laban Pinas.